Chapter 17. A New Life. It was a hard, bright day in early January. The holes in the road, which were generally thick with mud or water, were covered with thin ice, and the wheel tracks were white. The air was cold. Mary walked alone on the moor, and wondered why it was that Kilmar, to the left of her, no longer seemed threatening. The moors were still empty, and the hills were friendless, but the old sense of evil had left them, and she could walk on them without fear. She was free now to go where she chose, and her thoughts turned to Helford and the green valleys of the south. She had a strange desire in her heart for home and the sight of warm, friendly faces. She remembered with pain every smell and sound that had belonged to her for so long. She was from the soil and would return to it again, rooted to the earth as her fathers before her had been. Helford had given birth to her, and when she died, she would be part of it once more. Only among the woods and streams of her own Helford Valley would she know peace again. There was a cart coming towards her from Kilmar, across the white moor. It was the one moving thing on the silent plain. She watched it with suspicion, for there were no houses on this moor except Trewartha, and Trewartha she knew stood empty. She had not seen its owner since he had fired past her at Roughtor. "He's an ungrateful devil, like the rest of his family," the magistrate had said. "If I hadn't helped him, he'd be in prison now, with a long stay in front of him to break his spirit. I admit he did well. He was the means of finding you, Mary, and that black-coated murderer. But he's never even thanked me for clearing his name in the business, and has taken himself to the world's end for all I know. There's never been a Merlin yet that came to any good, and he'll go the same way as the rest of them." The cart came nearer to the slope of the hill. The horse bent to pull its load, and she saw that it was struggling with a strange pile of pots and pans and furniture. Someone was setting out on a journey, with his house on his back. Even then she did not realize the truth, and it was not until the cart was below her, and the driver, walking by its side, looked up to her and waved, that she recognized Jem. "Are you better?" he called from beside the cart. "I heard that you were ill, and had been staying in bed." "You must have heard wrong," said Mary. "I've been around the house at North Hill. There's never been much the matter with me, except a hatred for this area. There was some talk that you were to settle there and be a companion to Mrs. Bassett. Well, you'll lead an easy enough life with them, I dare say." "No, I'm going back home to Helford." "What will you do there?" "I shall try to start the farm again, or at least work my way to it, because I haven't the money yet. I've friends there who will help me." "Where will you live?" "I would be welcome in any house in the village. We're good neighbours in the south, you know." "I've never had neighbours, so I cannot say, but I've always had the feeling that it would be like living in a box to live in a village. You put your nose over your gate into another man's garden, and if his flowers are better than yours, there's an argument. And you know that if you cook a rabbit for your supper, he'll have the smell of it in his kitchen. That's no life for anyone. Here's my home, Mary. All the home I've ever had, here on the cart, and I'll take it with me and set it up wherever I want to. I've been a wanderer since I was a boy. Never any ties, nor roots, nor wishes for any length of time, and I dare say I'll die a wanderer too. It's the only life in the world for me." "There's no peace, Jem, in wandering, and no quiet. There'll come a time when you'll want your own piece of ground, and your four walls, and your roof, and somewhere to rest your poor tired bones. The whole country belongs to me, Mary, with the sky for a roof and the earth for a bed. You don't understand. You're a woman, and your home is everything to you. I've never lived like that, and never shall. I'll sleep on the hills one night, and in a city the next. I like to find my fortune here and there and everywhere, with strangers for company and passers-by for friends. Today I meet a man on the road and travel with him for an hour or for a year, and tomorrow he is gone again. We speak a different language, you and I. Which way will you go? Somewhere east of the river. It doesn't matter to me. I'll never come west again, not until I'm old and grey and have forgotten many things. I thought of going to the north. They're rich up there and open to new ideas. There'll be a fortune there for a man who goes to find it. Perhaps I'll have money one day and buy horses instead of stealing them. It's an ugly black country in the north. I don't worry about the colour of the soil. Moorland soil is black, isn't it? And so is the rain when it falls among your pigs down at Helford. What's the difference? You talk just to argue with me, Jem. There's no sense in what you say. How can I be sensible when you lean against my horse with your hair blowing in the wind? I know that in 5 or 10 minutes' time I shall be over that hill without you. My face will be turned towards the river, and you will be walking back to North Hill to drink tea with Mr. Bassett. Delay your journey then, and come to North Hill too. Don't be a fool, Mary. Can you see me drinking tea with the magistrate and dancing his children on my knee? I don't belong to his class, and neither do you. I know that, and I'm going back to Helford because of it. I want to smell the river again and walk in my own country. Go on then. Turn your back on me and start walking now. You'll come to a road that will take you to Helford. You're very hard today, and cruel. I'm hard with my horses when they won't do as I say, but that doesn't mean that I love them any the less. You've never loved anything in your life, said Mary. I haven't had much use for the word, that's why, he told her. It's past midday already, and I ought to be on the road. If you were a man, I'd ask you to come with me, and you'd jump onto the seat and put your hands in your pockets and ride beside me for as long as it pleased you. I'd do that now if you'd take me south. Yes, but I'm going north, and you're not a man. You're only a woman, as you'd learn if you came with me. I'm going now. Goodbye. He took her face in his hands and kissed it, and she saw that he was laughing. When you're an old woman down in Helford, you'll remember that, and it will have to last you to the end of your days. He stole horses, you'll say to yourself, and he didn't care for women. But if I had not been so proud, I'd have been with him now. He climbed onto the cart and looked down at her, waving his whip. I'll do 50 miles before tonight, he said, and sleep like a child at the end of it, in a tent by the side of the road. I'll light a fire and cook some eggs for my supper. Will you think of me or not? But she did not listen. She stood with her face towards the south, twisting her hands and saying nothing. Beyond those hills the empty moors turned to green grass, and the green grass to valleys and to streams. The peace and quiet of Helford waited for her beside the running water. "It's not pride," she told him. "You know it's not pride. There's a sickness in my heart for home and all the things I've lost." He said nothing, but whistled to the horse. "Wait," said Mary. "Wait, and hold him still, and give me your hand." He laid the whip to one side and reached down to her and swung her up beside him on the driver's seat. "What now?" he said. "And where do you want me to take you? You have your back to Helford. Do you know that?" "Yes, I know," she said. "If you come with me, it will be a hard life, and a wild one at times, Mary, with no staying anywhere, and little rest or comfort. You'll get a poor exchange for your farm, and little hope of the peace you look for." "I'll take the risk, Jem." "Do you love me, Mary?" "I believe so, Jem." "Better than Helford?" "I can't ever answer that." "Why are you sitting here beside me, then?" "Because I want to. Because I must. Because now and forever this is where I want to be," said Mary. He laughed then, and took her hand, and whipped the horse, and she did not look back over her shoulder again, but set her face north towards the river.